Y'all, Michelle here with My Designs in the Chaos, where it's always my goal to develop, encourage, and grow your crafting talent and confidence. I'm also the founder of 123 SVG and owner of My Designs in the Chaos. Welcome to video number 2 in my video workshop series called Going Digital. Now, in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can successfully pair fonts together. And more importantly, this is really going to help you speed up your designing process. So if you're a crafter, but you aren't sure how do you pair fonts together, or maybe you're a designer who gets stuck on matching different font styles, you're going to discover how creatives like you and me easily can create our own eye-catching SVG files with cute font pairs, and why it's critical that you focus on this right now. Now, in video number 1, we talked about a full step-by-step process for you to be able to create a never-ending list of ideas. I shared how it's going to immediately help you to never get stuck with what to create when you're designing your own files. So if you haven't seen that video yet, make sure to go back and watch that one first and then come back to this one. Now, today, I'm going to be building on what we discussed by sharing the number one thing that you need to master if you want to have aesthetically pleasing designs. Think of this as like your first step towards making that happen. It's really an entirely new way of thinking about designing, so you're really going to want to pay close attention. I'm also going to share how you can see all of your fonts at one time. When you know how to do this, you will know exactly which one you want to pick. The goal is to break you free of the time that you spend filtering through the fonts. Does anybody spend a lot of time doing that? I know I do. So that's the goal of today's video. This way you don't have to worry about how to match them up, and which means you're going to design them quicker and easier. You're going to have a toolbox for you to be able to pull from, and every time it'll get a little bit easier. Now, we've got a lot to cover today, so make sure you got your pen, paper, you're ready to hit replay, rewind, and take notes as you follow along. Now, anytime that you are trying to pair fonts, it's inevitable that you're going to hit a roadblock. You might have already experienced some of these roadblocks already. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced one of these roadblocks. Things like, I don't know if I can use this font for personal or commercial use. Or which font file do I actually end up downloading? Or how many fonts is too many fonts for my design? Tell me if one of those roadblocks is something you've hit, or if you have a different roadblock, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Well, here's what I know to be true though. If any of this sounds familiar, it's 100% normal. But the thing is, if you simply accept it as normal at face value, you're never going to be able to really get past that and smoothly pair and work with fonts in your designs and creations. You're always going to feel stuck. And the thing is, I know where you're coming from. I get it feels like some of this might be a little bit out of your hands. It's frustrating to come up against this stuff again and again and again. I've been there myself, and I've seen other crafters and designers go through the exact same thing. And it can be really, really stressful because you know that getting past these challenges are the key to help you create really professional, eye-catching SVG files. So in this video, I'm going to make it really easy for you. I'm going to help you avoid all the usual headaches by showing you a few simple steps that I personally follow to pair these fonts, which is going to save you tons of time and tons of frustration. However, though, before we go any further, it's important that I bring your attention to something that really gets overlooked as you begin to see this stuff on a practical level. Ignoring this stuff virtually guarantees you'll have a tough time trying to pick out a font. And it's easy to think that there's only one right way. Y'all, this is a very dangerous assumption to make, and I don't want any of y'all falling into that trap. But at some point, most of us have believed that that's true, myself included. This big assumption, in my opinion, is why so many crafters are struggling. Coming up, I'm going to reveal the truth behind that old belief, and that there isn't necessarily just one set way to do things. More importantly, I'm going to share with you what you need to know instead. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of today's video, starting with the font file to download. Now, you always want to use the OTF version of the font. Now, I go into a lot more details of the font file types in our Daily Dose of Design series, but for now, you just want to remember that OTF, you want to remember that as open that font. Even though that's not really what it stands for, that's what you want to remember. So when you open up your font file and you see OTF, TTF, WOTF, there's all these different types of file types for fonts. Just remember OTF, open that font. That's the one that you want to install. So next step, let's talk about how can you see these fonts on your computer. My absolute favorite tool to use for this is called wordmark.it. So I want you head over to that website, wordmark.it, wordmark.it. Go to that website and have some fun. And then I love it if you came back and shared with me what you enjoyed about it. So head over there once we're finished here and have some fun. That is how I personally see all the fonts that are on my computer. Now, finally, let's get to the nitty gritty. Here are 3 font types that will always look good together. You really can't go wrong with these different font types. And I'm going to share my screen with you here so that you can kind of see what it is that I'm talking about. So let me go ahead and click on this so that I can share this with you so that you can see them. And then I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to take this off of here so that y'all can see it a little bit easier. Okay, so when we're talking about font pairing, we're talking about font pairing, there are 3 styles of fonts that always look good together. So let's talk about a few of those. The very first one is serif and sans serif. The very first one is serif and sans serif. Now, you'll notice this font pair here that's pictured. So you can see that the serif font is one that has all these little like lines on it. It looks like it has like at the end of the S, the end of the E, the end of the R, it has those little lines. If you compare that to the font that's underneath, it doesn't have any of those lines on there. And so when you match those two together, they typically always look really, really nice. And a lot of times you can actually buy a package or download a bundle of fonts that has both of these matching together. So that's font pair number 1. So let's see, what does that actually look like in action? So here's an example of a design that I've made that pairs a serif and a sans serif. So you can see here, it flows really well together. And the kind in the middle is the sans serif, and then the serif is the line that's on top and the line that's on bottom. So that's font pair number 1. So put that in your pocket, jot it down, serif and sans serif, you can't go wrong. Font pair number 2 that always looks good together, a script font and a print font. These two look really, really nice together. So here's an example. I have the script font up in the middle, and then the print is on the top and the bottom. So it kind of sandwiches them in together. So script and print look really, really good. So jot that one down as one of your go-to font types. So when you're feeling stuck, these are great tools to use as a reference. The third type that typically always look good together are a skinny font and a bold font. Now, I really like these because you can kind of switch them up. You can put the bold on the top, you can put the bold on the bottom. Both of those options really look nice. And here's an example of that skinny and a bold. In this example, I've got the bold on the top and the skinny on the bottom. These 3 font pairs are amazing choices to choose from when you're looking to create a design that's really pleasing to the eye. Okay, so those are the 3 font pairs. And here's the thing, y'all, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the beginning. Are you already kind of seeing the potential of things that you can do? Hopefully you're able to use those 3 font pairs as a resource. Okay, now these 3 are amazing go-to pairs when looking to create a design that's really pleasing to the eye. With these styles of pairs in your pocket, you should really easily be able to cut down on your design time as well. But y'all, here's the thing. There is no wrong way to do this. While there are guidelines and there's go-to pairs that you can pull from that I've just talked about, along with the guidelines of things like use 3 or less fonts per design, at the end of the day, it's really all a matter of opinion. And there's exceptions to every single rule. The cool thing is that's what makes creating and designing so much fun, that there's no wrong way to do it. But the thing is, it can also feel a little bit overwhelming. Leah mentioned this in her designing story that I shared yesterday. If you haven't had a chance to go listen to it, I encourage you to go do so because I bet you'll be able to relate to what she was talking about. The thing is, when you're starting out, these 3 go-to font pairs that I just shared, you should be able to use them as your guide, and that will ensure that the overwhelm is totally eliminated. So let's do a quick recap of the things that we have learned and that we've covered today. First, we saw an entirely new way to think about how to use fonts in your designing. I gave you 3 different pairs that you can immediately use. You can use what you've learned here today to instantly help you easily pick out a font and start a design with them. Plus, you found out which font file to download and how to see all of your fonts on your computer so you can really get a big picture view. I've really shared a whole lot of information in a very short time. It's been a jam-packed video, so make sure to go back and review it and put these things into action right away. Speaking of taking action, before we go today, I'd love it if you comment right below this video. Tell me, what would life look like a year from now once you've applied all of this information? I shared a video this morning of what a year looks like with Lee, who put these things into practice right away. Make sure to check it out because I bet you'll be inspired by her story. Knowing how to easily pick fonts absolutely helps you create more eye-catching designs even faster. So, what does being able to design look like for you? I'd love to hear that in the comments. Get clear about the impact that learning how to design your own SVG files will have on your life, on your lives of your family, and even those around you. Think of all the things that you could be able to create. So let me know in the comments. And if you found this video useful, please do me a favor, share it on Facebook, Instagram, or even share this direct link with a friend. In the next video, I'm going to show you the entire designing framework that I use so you can have an exact outline to design your own SVG files. It builds on everything that we've talked about today. And most importantly, it outlines everything from the beginning, from just beginning starting to if you're already being familiar with the software. I really believe that it's the most valuable training in this entire workshop series that I'm doing. You'll rock away with so much clarity about how everything is fitting together. And you're going to see the areas that are most important for you to look at for now. So if you're a crafter, it's going to give you the exact track to run on to learn how to create your own SVG files. And if you're creative, you're going to learn the specific steps that you can take right now to amplify and grow the momentum that you already have going on. Plus, I bet you'll identify a few things which are likely holding you back from designing the way that you want to. The next video is all about equipping you for long-term success and giving you a really big picture strategy for making progress time and time again. But for now, I'm going to leave you with this. Just by learning what we covered today, you're one step closer to your ultimate goal. You want to design your own files, and you and I both know it is so much more than that, because it means you're going to have freedom and flexibility to express your creative talent in all your crafting projects. That's what really matters. So take what you've learned here today and start putting it into practice. Maybe you're just in the beginning stages, or maybe you can apply it right away, but the key thing, y'all, is to get moving. You want to take these small steps, which will get you where you want to be over time. So next up on Friday, I'll share my designing framework, which will help you design your own SVG files. I'm excited just knowing what a difference giving you that framework is going to make. I can't wait to see you in the next video on Friday, and I will talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Bye.